Hello and welcome to this afternoon's debate sponsored by CTIconnect. I'm Joey DeGraba, the product manager here at CTIconnect and the moderator for today's debate. We want to thank you for joining us today. We're very excited to be hosting our fourth Fireside chat and what will be the first ever debate between three manufacturers in our industry: Baicells Technologies, Cambium Networks, and Telrad Networks. We are looking forward to a robust discussion. Our goal with these fireside chats and with today's debate is to bring our viewers real information and field data to help you make informed decisions and find solutions that align with your goals. CTIconnect is passionate about serving our family of customers and partners with a high level of care and respect and delivering superior products, high value, and network reliability. Today's Fireside Chat Debate 2020 has some ground rules that our participants have agreed to follow. Each participant will have a 2-minute opening statement, a 2-minute closing statement. The order of these has been determined with a dice roll prior to the start of today's event. The debate session has been divided into 6 question segments. Each participant will have 2 minutes to answer the same question. We have allowed 2 minutes following each question for engaged rebuttals. If time permits, following the last question, we will add a lightning round, where we will ask a couple of questions that have been submitted by you, our audience, during registration. Joining us today are Rick Harnish, the Chief Marketing Officer at Baicells Technologies, Derek Underwood, the Regional Vice President of North America at Cambium Networks, and Alex Frelican, the Vice President of Sales at Telrad Networks. Welcome, gentlemen. So with that, if you're ready, let's start with the opening statements. Rick from Baicells, you won the dice roll, so please begin.
Hey, at least I won something today, Joey. Thank you. Thanks, Joey. And Baicells is pleased to take part in this debate with Alex and Derek, our competitors, but also fellow manufacturers in this great industry we're in. Baicells entered the WISP industry in 2016 with the introduction of affordable LTE equipment and pay-as-you-grow Concord EPC and OMC. Baicells 3.65 to 3.7 and 2.5 gigahertz equipment rapidly gained ground as a 900 megahertz replacement. Additionally, as unlicensed spectrum became congested, operators began to deploy LTE in the end band. Reports of excellent non-line of sight performance drew attention to the entire industry, and our sales skyrocketed, actually. LTE is a global standard, which means that there's many companies that provide input into the evolving 3GPP LTE standards, rules, and features. The standard continues to evolve, hence 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, and it covers many spectrum bands around the globe. With the standard includes equipment interoperability with other manufacturers, so you're not just tied to one manufacturer. And I think that's a major advantage, and especially as we move forward into 5G equipment, that's going to be very important in the growth of the LTE standard and the equipment manufacturing processes. So we have this LTE. Okay, I'm done.
Thank you very much. Alex from Telrad.
Let's play the mute unmute thingy, toggle it. Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to thank you for joining us this afternoon, giving us a good reason to wear a suit and a tie. Haven't done it in a while, except the temple. So good to see you, Rick. Good to see you, Derek. And thank you for CTI team for organizing this event. So very briefly, Telrad, we're a technology vendor who specializes with fixed wireless application. We started our journey as Alvarian, BreezeCom, back in 90s, continued in 2013 as a Telrad. We have been creating OFDM-based technologies and products for almost 20 years. So we are pioneers of fixed wireless broadband space and basically continue walking that path, lots of patents, lots of intellectual property, and lots of know-how. Because of the sole focus on fixed wireless broadband access, we had an opportunity to learn the market more intimately over many years, understand the impact of foliage, topography, interference, the real world nuances all of us deal with, and develop technology and product portfolio with unmatched features, functions, capabilities, and performance. That also means a business case. So that's Telrad, and thank you for organizing this event again, and we look forward being part of the debate.
Okay, thank you. Derek from Cambium, please.
Hey, Joey. Can you hear me? Looks like I'm all right. My name is Derek Underwood, Regional Vice President of North America for Cambium Networks. I've been fortunate enough to be with Cambium since its inception. And while many things over that time have changed, two things have remained constant. One, our commitment to the service provider community, and two, our commitment to innovation. Innovation, particularly around spectral efficiency, maximizing utilization of the spectrum that we have available. I am pleased to say that the fixed wireless industry has arrived, and it's been fantastic to see the opportunities that CAF2, CBRS, and CARES Act have all provided. The demand has been incredible, and we certainly appreciate your support and patience as we work hard to deliver product through this global pandemic. I look forward to this session discussing with my counterparts here, standard versus proprietary technology, the future of the fixed wireless industry, near non-line of sight. And while I recognize it's a debate, it's also important to realize that Cambium has and will continue to adopt standards as our customers need. Today, Cambium Networks has more devices registered with the SAS than any competing technology provider using our PMP 450 platform. I mentioned in the onset our commitment to the fixed wireless space, and I think that one great example of this is our seamless migration from Part 90 to Part 96. And unlike many competitors in the market, we did not strand a single subscriber module during this transition. And so, I think when you look at Cambium's commitment to backwards compatibility and protecting our customer investment, those are things that you continue to see with us with our roadmap and strategic direction. Over the next hour and a half, you're also going to hear how Cambium is committed to strengthening our wireless fabric and giving our service providers an unfair competitive advantage in the marketplace. Again, I thank all of you guys for participating in this, and certainly appreciate CTI for organizing the event.
Thanks very much. All right, with that, we're going to jump into the question segment. Our first topic for tonight is about near line of sight and non-line of sight performance. Access to high-speed broadband across our country is increasing, particularly in rural communities. As these rural areas often present challenging geographies, what makes your 3 gigahertz product a better solution than your competitors for near line of sight and non-line of sight environments? Derek from Cambium, you won the first dice roll. Begin.
Thanks, Joey. I think one of the things that really separates Cambium Networks is that we have a purpose-built technology. Our product was developed for fixed wireless access. When you look at LT Solutions, originally built for the mobile network operators, it's a very different architecture. That architecture has very little uplink power and uplink capacity compared to what we need in the fixed wireless space. So the fact that we have 2x2 on our CPEs, as opposed to most of the Cat4 and Cat6 devices that are 2x1, gives us a really good advantage in near and non-line of sight. In addition, we've really optimized the system for fixed wireless. So providing that balanced link between the downlink and the uplink really also gives us a good advantage in near non-line of sight. In addition, what we found with our is that most of these obstructions that are occurring at the subscriber side. So our ability to combine and take advantage of the massive MU-MIMO architecture that we've deployed has been largely unaffected. And field tests have shown consistent superior performance with 450 in near and non-line of sight applications.
Okay, Rick from Baicells, to you.
Okay. So as I said earlier, Baicells entered the market and we were getting excellent non-line of sight performance and kind of dominated the market there for a period of time. I think it's important to instruct people, I guess, to do their installations with top-notch installation practices, both at the tower side and the CPE side. Things like using quality low pin cables and getting your proper down tilt on your ENB antennas is so important. I find as I travel around the country that that's one of the major things that people have problems with is they come from the Wi-Fi world and they don't always do the best installations and calculate the proper propagation on their antennas and so forth. I think I appreciate what Derek said about MU-MIMO. That is coming in LTE. I think that's one advantage, I guess, of a proprietary solution over a standards-based solution is we have a lot of companies, a lot of input going into the standard, and it takes a little bit more time to evolve and come to an agreement on the standards, whereas Cambium can just go, and they do have an advantage there. I don't doubt that at all. I think LTE will catch up. In fact, we will be entering the market in 2021 with MU-MIMO, with 5G, with 3.5 and 5 gigahertz combined. 2021 is going to be an exciting year for Baicells. 2020 has been a disaster for everybody globally due to COVID and other issues, but we're looking forward to 2021 and looking to compete again with Cambium and Telrad, while I have great respect for both companies.
Okay. With that, I'll move it to Alex from Telrad. Why is your 3 gigahertz product better in near non-line of sight?
As I mentioned in the opening statement, thank you, Joey. So as I mentioned in the opening statement, the 20-year experience with OFDM is the key. What we bring to the table is know-how to understand what happens with multipath, how interference impacts. 4x4 radio, there is a reason for it. How can we increase the system gain mathematically versus the, when you have EIRP limitations, let's say with part 96. How can we overcome that, or part 15? How can we overcome the challenge of power limitation, but still bump up extra few dBs to give you an extra mile, 2, 3, or go through or go over the 3 and so on. So that's what Telrad does. It's and that's what we're known for. It's digital signal processing, it's starvation protection algorithms. Like I mentioned earlier, it's a 4x4 system. We can have a 25 meg subscriber at RSSI neg 105, 108. I mean, it's pretty phenomenal numbers. In real world, that means an extra customer, an extra ARPU. That also means, maybe a standard size CPE versus the higher gain CPE, so lower installation costs. So yeah, as an LTE, we walk the path. We are true believers in standard-based technology. We will talk about that a little bit later, but 3GPP gives us discretion of deviating from the standard, implementing some proprietary elements or unique elements to us, and we were able to successfully do that.
So it sounds to me like LTE is still superior to a non-LTE product in near non-line of sight. I think you guys touched on some of Cambium's products there. Derek, do you care to, talk a little bit about why that's not the case?
Yeah, again, I think the big difference between Cambium and an LTE or proprietary versus a standards-based solution is the purpose-built aspect. The fact that we have more flexibility on the uplink, which also frees up cycles on the base station. One of the things that LTE is, it's often overlooked, it was again designed for the mobile operators. When you have a bad connection with the mobile device, you move. Customers' expectations of their mobile networks are not the same as they are of their fixed wireless networks at home. So our 450 platform, again, we take advantage of the full maximum EIRP. We have a balanced link between our APs and subscribers. And we have massive MU MIMO that performs very well in near non-line of sight.
Okay, and Alex, how does Telrad, offer a product that competes with that? You might be muted.
Thank you. Derek basically summarized that it's a purpose-built platform. We have been using this as our messaging for past 6-8 months. What I say is we are the Jim Wrangler for a 4x4 for an off-road. You don't take ML 350 off-roading and stuff. So it's purpose-built inside and out. There are certain advantages that proprietary platform gives, and Cambium takes full advantage of that. And it's a privilege to compete against Cambium every time. You're not competing against so these guys definitely know what they're doing. We just do it better.
Okay, well, we're going to move on to our next topic, which most of you have already mentioned, which is offering a proprietary versus standards-based platform, particularly in 3 gigahertz. When building a network, often operators consider a proprietary technology versus standards-based platforms, and there are positives and negatives to each approach. When an operator chooses your 3 gigahertz point-to-multipoint technology, what side would they find themselves on, and why would that choice be a better solution for their network? So we'll begin with Alex from Telrad.
What standard gives us, it gives us an ecosystem where you are not dependent to a single vendor. You can, you don't like these guys that sell you CPEs, shop around. That also gives you buying power. It gives us multiple vendor choices in case if there is issues with shipment like we've experienced this year. One vendor is not there, you go shop around, get someone else. Standard is you have an industry, mobile-based industry that are multi-billion-dollar industry that's working on features that are unique to mobile, but it gives us ability to differentiate and deviate. And again, Derek was kind of hit it on, and said precisely, LTE was designed for mobility. You don't move house very often. So you expect quality versus, or rather bandwidth, capacity versus connectivity. And again, going back into our vision, standard gives us enough freedoms to deviate from it and develop custom features or proprietary or unique features to Telrad that gives us very strong standing using Telrad, taking advantage of near non-line of sight capabilities, taking advantage of quality of service, and the ecosystem that comes with LTE.
All right, Derek from Cambium.
Thanks, Joey. So Cambium, again, is a company that has demonstrated time and time again that we adopt standards where it makes sense, and we also develop parallel proprietary solutions so that we can stay ahead of the standard in many cases. And when you look at what we've done with 450 and 3 gig, it's a perfect example. We recognize, as Rick mentioned, that there are features and functionality that are coming with LTE, but having the 450 platform being a software-defined radio, we could execute on those technologies earlier and continue to build a robust roadmap while we're in parallel developing our own 3 gig LTE platform. So I think for us, it's really what benefits our service provider customers. If we can today deliver an 8x8 massive MU MIMO solution with a very attractive TCO, no EPC, simple deployment that works extremely well in near non-line of sight, we felt that was the best place for us to accelerate our investment. So when you're with Cambium, I think the reality, Joey, is you're not tied to standard or proprietary. You have a wireless fabric that enables you to pick the best solution for the job.
Okay, Rick, go ahead.
Yeah, so I want you to remember, I've been in the industry a long time, of course. Think back 15, 20 years and how many different wireless manufacturers there were, 15, 20, 30 doing multi-point. What's left in the Wi-Fi world? Cambium. They're the only soldier left, whereas LTE has manufacturers growing every year, new and new. I mean, people are getting it. And while, again, I applaud Cambium for what they've done. I remember going to Cambium headquarters in England and visiting with Phil Bolt back when I was with WISPA. But, the previous fragmented wireless industry is consolidating globally on LTE. How much longer can Cambium keep up with actually, I think Alex said billions of dollars. It's probably more like trillions of dollars going into the LTE ecosystem. I don't know, but I really believe that LTE is the way of the future. LTE has a path to 5G. Cambium doesn't. They're going to have to do their own thing to compete with 5G. And can they get that kind of capacity out of their chipsets and so forth? It's just kind of a wait and see. I think Cambium is probably leading in 2020, most likely. I think they're going to lose ground here in the next few years, though.
Okay, just to follow up on that, Rick, I mean, the standards-based solution that I guess yourself and Telrad have, there's an interoperability feature to that. And how well has that worked, would you say?
It's worked better for some companies than others, as long as they follow the 3GPP standards to the T. Everything should work. Now, I want you to understand, and the audience to understand, so the LTE is the global standard, right? What is CBRS? Well, CBRS is this little, I guess, headache that got pushed on to the LTE and Cambium products for the CBRS industry. It complicates firmware development and new features and everything, because not only do we have to meet the LTE standards, we also have to meet the CBRS standards and the SAS and everything like that.
With about 30 seconds or so, Derek, would you care to comment on what Rick just said?
Yeah. Thanks, Joey. Look, I think, again, we're not debating, Cambium doesn't debate the merit of a standards-based solution. But I also think there were lots of manufacturers and service providers that bought into a standard called WiMAX, as that was going to be a game changer. Meanwhile, the whole time Cambium and Motorola at the time were developing a parallel solution with the PNP platform. So customers, if you look at today, there are a lot more of the old Canopy radios that were out there at the time than there are still WiMAX systems. And part of that is that irrespective of the benefits of a standards-based solution, there are also limitations. And I think that's a point that we recognize. And again, we're not tied to either one. We adopt both where it makes sense.
Okay. So our next topic deals with supplying the increased demand for capacity. Consumers' appetite for greater bandwidth is ever growing. The need for faster speeds and larger packages was accelerated by the COVID pandemic. And as more and more people found themselves working remotely and managing their children's education virtually. This question goes to Rick from Baicells. How are your 3 gigahertz products able to deliver that increased capacity above the competition? Might be banded. I think you're muted, Rick.
Do we get more time?
No.
The 436Q is really our lead eNodeB right now. It includes the option to go with carrier aggregation or dual split sector, basically, so you could run 2 sectors off of it or combine that bandwidth. So we'll be coming out with higher order and full dimension MIMO here in 2021. 256 QAM downlink and 64K uplink. And what I'm really excited about is the new 5G NR and Turbo LTE products to meet the capacity demands of 2021 and at a near gigabit capacity.
All right, Derek from Cambium, same question to you.
Thanks, Joey. The biggest thing that we've done is as I mentioned earlier, our commitment to spectral efficiency. We've incorporated massive MU MIMO today, and since the product has been shipping, we've had 8x8 MIMO with 2x2 subscribers. So, top end capacity in 20 megahertz channel of 500 megabits. And that's, again, because of our ability to communicate with multiple subscribers at the same time on the same channel. So we believe that that is a more efficient way to deliver signal without needing to operate at the top end order modulations to get that level of capacity to every subscriber. In addition to that, we have also focused on, because of having a software-defined radio not being tied to the standard, we've allowed for a lot of flexibility on the uplink and downlink. And we're starting to see now that students are working more from home, parents are working more from home, the need for uplink capacity. And gone are the days of DSL services with lots of downlink speed and slow uplink. That's a benefit of a proprietary based solution that you don't find in the standard, is that ability to adjust that uplink and downlink. And so all of that has led to a superior performance for our PNP 450 customers when it comes to the increase in demand. One last point is the whole portfolio. We have lots of customers deploying 5 gig on top of 3 gig. And now with our release of 60 gig, it's a solution that allows our service providers to have options in getting that high capacity as their demands increase.
Okay. Alex, to you, how are your 3 gig products delivering increased capacity above the competition?
Actually, we approached few venues in parallel to address the capacity. To Derek's comment, LTE gives us freedoms. Might not be as much freedoms, but we can allocate more bandwidth in uplink, close to 50-50, 55-45. The problem that you create is you become less friendly to coexistence, because moreover in CBRS space, where you are not the only one, and it's going to be more of us, more of everybody in CBRS, you want to make sure that you match your uplink to downlink, you match your timing. But no, that's not really a limitation. What Telrad did, we had dual carrier capability, dual carrier aggregation. We have multi-user MIMO capability. We have introduced 256 QAM and downlink, 64 QAM and uplink. That gave us almost 30-40% uplink, bumping us due to the spectral efficiency, uplink capacity. And all those things kind of available they're available to our customers at their discretion. Some of it as part of the standard feature upgrade, some of it as a licensed feature. what we did in March, April, when the COVID was just hitting us over the head, we introduced online self-service feature for our customers to go upgrade your base stations, download all you can eat license, do whatever you need to do to get over the hump, because the increase in capacity went through the roof. And the big question is, you can climb the towers that fast, but you can upload license in a matter of minutes and reboot the base station, and in 10 minutes you got twice as much capacity. And that's the play that Telrad did, and we kind of took earlier this year.
Okay, Derek, you care to respond to that?
Yeah, I think two things. I mean, both Rick and Alex have talked a lot about things that are coming, and one of those things is MU-MIMO. And again, I think, we have a 14 by 14 product in 5 gig, an 8 by 8 product in 3 gig, and have been shipping that since the onset of the product. Again, a benefit of a proprietary based solution. In addition, we don't burden our customers with license fees on subscribers or for feature functionality. We try to make it simple. Our subscriber modules are simple. The deployment and management of those devices are simple. But with respect to capacity as well, the 8 by 8 MU-MIMO again gives us there is no product on the planet that can compete today with the capacity on a per sector basis that we're able to offer.
Okay, Alex, do you care to respond to that?
I'm not arguing. Multi-user MIMO is, when you're dealing with hundreds of megabits capacity over the same channel width, it's no joke. I mean, for us, it's this feature available today. People use it all the time. The problem with efficiency is a trade-off. You go for efficiency, you trade off distance, you trade off near non-line of sight. So it's really comes in, what do you have to offer? And Telrad's base station offers it all. The question is, which feature do you want to choose? A la carte.
Okay. All right, we're going to move on to a new topic, operating in the SAS. In 2015, the FCC adopted CBRS, which set forth new rules for access to the 3550 to 3700 megahertz band. This access and operation are managed by an automated frequency coordinator known as the Spectrum Access System, or SAS. Now that each of your network radios went through the certification process, how do your 3 gigahertz radios and supporting software offer a better working relationship with the SAS than your competitors? We'll start with Derek from Cambium.
Thanks, Joey. First of all, Cambium offers ultimate flexibility, and you choose the SAS provider. We believe we have competitive pricing, volume discounts for those customers that have large scale networks. Our number one objective in working in the SAS has been making it simple. We have one platform with CN Maestro, which also offers management, onboarding, monitoring tools. And that is, so all of our customers use our domain proxy. They don't have to worry about any additional digital certificates. And we make it simple. We have a very large support organization that helps our customers migrate from Part 90 to Part 96, but really with a focus on simplicity. One thing we found from many competitors in the industry today is that there are a lot more costs associated with SaaS operation than just the SaaS fees. And many times those costs are buried in software maintenance, they're buried in licensing, they're buried in other fees. But Cambium's been very transparent about what it is that customers are paying for, what it is that customers are getting in return. And we've tried to make we give customers as much flexibility and options as we possibly can, again, with the focus on simplicity. In addition, Joey, you do get the suite of features, as I mentioned, from CN Maestro as part of your SaaS operation. So many customers that are deploying 5 gig and other technologies from Cambium, they also use CN Maestro for their SaaS operation with CBRS.
Okay. Alex, same question to you.
Well, Rick can relate. LT is not simple with CBRS. Technology is meant to be, cluster, decentralized. So, and again, you can definitely give a credit to Cambium maintaining it all under one roof. You have greater control and leverage. Here, we're dealing with an ecosystem and trying to marry things that were not there before to begin with. So yes, we do utilize domain proxy as a mechanism. We chose to step away. We chose not to monetize off CBRS. To all Telrad customers, it's complementary feature. Enormous amounts of development in terms of software and so on, enormous. We're not monetizing of that. We want our customers to continue using it. So yes, there are some challenges, but process is doable, it's functional, it's working. It's for some customers, it may be more challenging than others, but process is there, and people are migrating into CBRS. They work with any choice of the SaaS admins that they choose. They have their own individual commercial agreement with them, and we're just simply going to support them on the back end with software and support.
Okay, Rick from Baicells, how about your system's relationship to the SaaS?
Well, I agree with the others. We don't monetize the SaaS either. We do not operate as a middleman. We allow our customers to choose their SaaS provider, and whatever they negotiate price-wise with that SaaS provider is what they pay. We have nothing in that. We have the Cloud Core EPC, which is $1 per SIM card per month, or they can buy a local EPC just like Telrad would have, or a CN Maestro system like Cambium has, and have no fees. So it's an option. That Baicells is all about options, letting our customers choosing the best path for them is what we're all about. Kind of a pay-as-you-grow type system, or buy it all, local core, whatever you want to do. Direct SaaS registration is on our roadmap in 2021. Right now, we use the Baicells Cloud or your local OMC as a domain proxy. And again, I agree with Alex. Yeah, LTE is very difficult to incorporate some of the CBRS rules. And I imagine both of our companies are struggling a little bit more than maybe Cambium is at this time. But we're in the early stages of CBRS. We'll get through it. There's growing pains, and I look forward to the day that it's all solved and they start managing spectrum like CBRS is globally. I think that'll be outstanding if we can do that. We're not there yet totally, but I think it's coming sooner than you think.
One thing I think about with Baicells is the ease of use. Alex, how does your platform, as it relates to the SaaS, might be easier than maybe say Baicells?
The short answer is it's relatively easy. The SaaS interface is built into the graphical user interface of BreezeView. So yeah, it will require updates to firmware updates to subscriber units that may add SaaS compliance modules and so on. But you provision SaaS interface, you provision your authentication details, you register basically BreezeView with one of the SaaS administrators. And we support both single and two-step registrations with SaaS. So adding CBSDs is not difficult at all. There are optimizations, the batch updates as far as mass additions or subtractions rather of CBSDs. So no, it's not rocket science. It's very doable. It's functional, and we have customers that are adding CBSDs every day.
With about 10 seconds left, Derek, you care to give anything about your system on SaaS?
Yeah, and I think some of the things that both Alex and Rick spoke to are the reasons that we decided to take a little different approach and try to make it simple, because we recognize in the absence of having a consolidated view and interface with CN Maestro, it can be complicated. And so, again, it's a different approach, but we think our customers appreciate the simplicity given all the unknowns around CBRS and the migration to this new way of managing spectrum.
Rick, do you have anything to add to that as far as Baicells system?
As it is operating in the SAS,
Yes.
Is that what you're asking?
Like operator experience with the SAS.
Some operators have had great experience so far. Is it totally easy? Not necessarily. Are we getting better? Yes. Are there operators that are struggling with certain things? Absolutely. As Alex mentioned, like module firmware upgrades and stuff like that, we've had a couple little glitches. Some operators don't see it at all. Other operators do. This industry is very complex. There's so many wireless ISPs out there, and I think both these gentlemen can agree with me here. They all build their networks different, and from a manufacturer, it is very difficult to build a product that will work in every instance, in every situation, in every environment well. Some operators do it well all the time. Some operators don't. Cutting corners can cost you a lot of money and time and frustration. It's not necessarily the manufacturer's fault at that time. The operators do need to take some responsibility on how to build their systems.
Okay, I'm going to move on to network security. Much of today's end users manage their day-to-day lives online and would like that to be a secure experience. During a time where our networks have seen increased cyber threats from entities, foreign and domestic, what aspects of your technology's software and architecture work to provide a more secure experience for its operators over competing products? This one's going to go to Alex from Telrad.
Thanks, Jerry. Well, for Telrad, security is pretty much the song of the words of our song. Everything about our system is all about security. When we don't really talk about private LTE, but essentially any Telrad network by design, by default, is a private LTE network. It's a standalone. It includes its own network management system. It includes its own Evolve packet core. It can be embedded EPC into each base station if you choose to enable it. Security is requirement, basically. This is our mantra. Management, we use NetConf protocol for base stations instead of SNMP. NetConf, that's what carriers use to manage their devices. This is a secure protocol by design. Since it's LTE, everything about LTE is secure. Let's say you leaked crypto information of one SIM card. Okay, so only that particular SIM path or link is being affected. Each CP is encrypted individually. So we can authenticate devices at IHSS, at the EPC. So no cloud services needed. And as long as perimeter of the network is secured by a service provider, like Rick mentioned, there are different practices here and there. Telrad networks are extremely secure.
All right, Rick from Baicells, same question to you.
Well, LTE in its nature by the standards is it's encrypted by default. LTE uses multiple planes of communication, your user plane, your data plane. There's other planes that have to do with authentication and so forth. Every device has a SIM card, a unique ID for every subscriber on the network. If that doesn't match with what's on the provider's network on their EPC, then that device doesn't get on the network. It uses AKA, Authentication and Key Agreement Protocol. And then the air interface is protected with AES, the block cipher standard. Now, there is a little bit give and take as far as security in our cloud EPC platform. That is a shared platform. And people that buy our product understand that we're giving them this cloud platform so that they can get started in LTE from day one and not have to spend, $50,000, $60,000 or more on an EPC. And the reason I say there's a little give and take there is our users have the same this IMSI number, the first 6 digits or so. So anybody buying buy-sell SIM cards can get on the Cloud Core platform. But they have the option at any time to move to their own EPC and have more security. It's just a kind of, again, grow as or pay as you grow type thing.
All right, Derek from Cambium.
Thanks, Joey. I'll talk about security in 2 different ways. First, the RF portion. Having a proprietary air interface that has been developed over many years for multiple applications. We today serve the Department of Defense. We serve Foreign Ministry of Defense customers all around the globe, and very high security, mission critical applications. So we've adopted all the standards in terms of AES encryption. In some cases in our products, we have FIPS 140 compliance and certifications. So from an RF standpoint, that's a big part of our heritage. Again, going back to our days with Motorola Solutions and Orthogon Solutions. With respect to the second component of this, which is really the cloud management and network security, we have incorporated high availability AWS cloud. We do have a unique instance for each one of our customers who has their own instance of CN Maestro and their own accounts to manage those individual devices. We also offer for customers that have more concern over their data being out on the cloud, an on-prem version of CN Maestro to help support some of those customers that are a little concerned about their cloud, their information being on the cloud. But again, I think this is another one of those things that when you look at having a proprietary solution versus a standards-based solution, we've built this technology from the ground up, both our network management platform and the RF platform, to maximize the security and integrity of that data for our customers.
So Derek touched on a little bit there about the aspects of the cloud, and Rick, your system is hugely based on cloud support. So how do you deal with that in terms of security?
How do I deal with what as far as the cloud?
Meaning the fact that your system is entirely cloud-based, how do you deal with security?
But it's not entirely cloud-based.
Meaning that
is an option that our customers have.
Well, meaning the Baicells EPC.
They can have a local Baicells EPC. They can purchase one today, as well as a local OMC. That's like I said earlier, we have lots of options. They can use another manufacturer's EPC. We really don't have a problem with it.
Okay.
And it's just whenever that customer decides that they want to migrate to their their local system or somebody else's local system.
Okay. Alex, would you care to talk about how you differentiate from that at all?
Keep it private. Our philosophy is simple, self-contained. So by design, if network is secured, everything from Telrad is secured. We rely on 3GPP standard, so LTE hasn't been broken. Every single carrier around the globe uses LTE. So encryption is unbreachable. Well, with today's technologies, right? So, or unless you leak encryption details of a SIM card. So that's pretty much our philosophy. Keep it all together, use best practices to secure your network. And by design, Telrad will come in secured as from end to end.
All right, so we're going to move on to 5 gigahertz point-to-multipoint systems. As the focus remains currently fixed on 3 gigahertz, most of the point-to-multipoint deployments in the country remain in unlicensed 5 gig, mainly due to its ease of deployment. Given the vast number of deployments create higher noise environments, how are your 5 gigahertz technologies helping operators adapt? Rick from Baicells, we'll start with you.
Well, we have just limited devices in 5 gigahertz. Our LTEU product, I think, was introduced in 2018. I actually went on site for a couple of the installations, and I thought we saw good performance in very high noise situations. Our LTE product is priced, and I'm going to be honest here, it is not priced really for the WIS market. It's priced more for indoor manufacturers and so forth. So therefore, it never really took hold in the industry. There's cheaper alternatives out there. That's fine. We have a network in Hawaii. Actually, I went to visit that last year. They can't use 3.5 in Hawaii. It's basically all the spectrum's taken up. So they deployed LTEU there in their little community and on Oahu, and it worked. It's working well, and they're actually growing that network. We do have an exciting product coming out here, probably the first quarter to 2021. It's called LTE Turbo. It's going to be kind of a revolutionary secret solution that I'm not going to divulge much information about, but we'll have up to 1 gigabit of capacity. More to come. Stay tuned.
All right, Alex from Telrad.
Okay, so for us, we really didn't have 5 gigahertz product for we did not support 5 gigahertz frequency band for quite a few years. Most of our energy was going into 2.5 and 3.5 or 3.65. A couple of years ago, we slowly began introducing 5 gig, but the takeoff really began happening about a year ago. So the way that we look at 5 gig, the easiest way to build 5 gigahertz is using Qualcomm chip. So you end up with FDD system where you need one channel to transmit, one channel to receive. Has certain advantages and disadvantages. The problem is you need two frequencies at the place and time where there is not enough frequency. We took the TDD route, just like our existing system, just like any other Cambium system where you need one channel, except knowing that 5 gig is an unlicensed frequency band. How do we play nicely and how do we stay on air longer? So we've introduced very interesting algorithms like frequency selective scheduler, where when we look at the noise, LTE in general looks differently at the noise. And again, it's going back into the years of our experience in digital signal processing. We look at noise per resource block that are a matter of kilohertz versus a channel. So if there is an interference at this portion of the channel, we can allocate resource blocks away from the noise for that particular CPE in real time. And that's the beauty part of our scheduler that gives us a very unique capability in serving more customers, staying on air longer, providing better bandwidth, and so on. So 5 gig really serves two purposes. One is a standalone 5 gigahertz system, non-contiguous carrier aggregation. Second one, I'm out of time. Second one is, and I'll talk about that in a final statement, is augmentation to CBRS. And I'll talk about that a little bit later.
Okay, Derek, go ahead.
Hey, Joey, I think that 5 gig, Cambium has long time been a leader in the 5 gigahertz industry. When you look at our 450 platform, 5 gigahertz came first. Our view on 5 gigahertz is this is extremely valuable spectrum. It complements what we do in the 3 gigahertz space, particularly where you can get closer to your customers and use that spectrum to deliver a higher level of service in areas where you have line of sight. 5 gigahertz for us, we look at this frequency as table stakes for our service providers. We deploy today in our 450 platform 14 by 14 massive NU MIMO, and that has been the game changer. That's allowed customers, even in high noise environments, to have up to 100 plus subscribers on a single access point and have access point capacities of up to 550, 600 megabits. So we are strong believers in 5 gigahertz, continue to have a very robust roadmap. And I think one thing that differentiates us, and this is a little statistic that'll stick to your riblets, and that's that we've got over 8.5 million devices deployed in 5 gigahertz today around the world. So our products and solutions, they're field tested and proven. So I think, again, when you look at Cambium Networks and our ePNP platform is a great complementary to our 450 platform, our end-to-end solution is unmatched in the industry.
All right, so what we're going to do is pivot to like a lightning round here. I have some questions submitted by some of our viewers, and it'll basically just be the same rules: 2 minutes per contestant. There is a lot of grant money going out that requires either 25 by 5 or in some cases 100 by 20. And I think that's on a lot of minds out there, is what technology can supply that. So I guess my question is to Derek in this case. Talk about how Cambium is achieving that and allowing these people to meet their commitments.
Allowing customers to meet their commitments. I'm sorry, it broke up.
For 25 by 5 and 100 by 20.
Yeah, I think what we're doing is we're giving customers options. We're giving them options with different products, different channel sizes, different frequencies to meet those commitments. I don't believe, and I'm sure my fellow panelists would agree, that I don't believe there's a single technology or frequency on its own that can enable our service providers to meet those commitments across the board. It's a combination of technologies, a combination of solutions. And at Cambium, I've mentioned several times our wireless fabric and the strength of that fabric. And that's really what we've hung our hats on. The other thing that we're doing, and I talked about in the onset, I can't say it enough, we spend a lot of investment dollars around innovation and spectral efficiency. And for us, we don't think you can go to 1024 QAM, 2056 QAM, 2048 QAM, 4096 QAM in unlicensed bands. We don't believe that the spectrum is clean enough to allow for that. And so our goal is, how do we create more orders of MU MIMO? How do we give the ability for our APs to talk to multiple subscribers so that you don't have to operate at those higher order modulations and you can still meet the commitments of 25.5. And the last thing, Joey, is we've also invested a lot of dollars in our planning tools and software to really enable our customers to see what the expectations for each of those individual links to their subscribers are. Because that's as important as anything we've talked about today is being able to build a predictable, highly reliable network.
Okay, I'll kick it over to Alex. Do you also want to talk about a little bit about how your technology is able to meet these commitments?
We do it all day long. If you are offering 25 by 3 service today with a 20 megahertz carrier, you can easily accommodate 27, 30 subscribers on a sector on a single carrier with ability to double it. We have mechanisms to deliver 100 by 20 service in a dual carrier manner, carrier aggregation, where you do need 40 megahertz. We differentiate from tier ones in terms of our vision in frequency reuse and so on, how networks should be done to deliver quality, reliable, because there is always a difference. And I always stress it. I kind of, there is a difference between customer and happy customer. And it's a big deal. It doesn't matter how much bandwidth you provide, as long as it's quality bandwidth. Customers don't care. They're like, my internet is slow. They don't know what's causing it. So if we are saying that yes, we can do 100 by 20. It means that you have to adhere to certain standards, a certain minimum, certain way how your oversubscription model, and so on. Dual band concept is exactly correct. This is our vision, because one band will not do it. You always run out of spectrum. You never have enough. So the question is, how can you augment other frequencies? But the question is, how can you augment it and run it together, not in parallel, individually? So, and that's the feature that is being introduced now in our dual band concept, inner band carrier aggregation. Hopefully within the next few weeks, there are going to be some noise on the ground. Equipment is going through FCC certification right now, the dual band CPEs. So that's going to be our New Year present for everybody.
Great, Rick. Same question to you. How are operators coming to you with commitments, and you're able to meet them?
Well, Alex and Telrad get it. Dual band is really the way of the future. You got to combine frequencies to get that kind of capacity, like the RDOF requirements. So just like Telrad, we're going to be introducing the LTE Turbo product, which is an LWA 5 gigahertz and 3.5 product, right there around the first of the year. And then distributed outdoor eNode B. So you have a BBU and an RRU. They'll give you a lot more capacity for the number of users, more processing power. The baseband unit at the bottom, can supply the baseband for multiple RRUs up on the tower. So that's also coming first, second quarter, and we'll supply an enormous amount of bandwidth to the customers. At least one model will be 4G at the beginning, upgradable to 5G as soon as it comes out. So basically, you pull a 4G insert out and then put the 5G in to replace it. So, which at that time, your bandwidth just goes through the roof as far as what you can get.
All right. Derek,
one more thing, Joey. We also have a Cat 15 CPE coming out. Actually, I think it's being beta tested right now. It's a 18 dB Cat 15, and probably one of the biggest ones on the market that we know of.
Hey Joey, I think you were asking if I would like to comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's exciting to hear from Alex and Rick some of the things that are coming down the pipe, and a lot of the things they've been talking about today are roadmap items. And I think when you look at Cambium and our decisions to pursue investment in a proprietary-based solution with 450, it's because we've been able to stay ahead of the standard, and it's because because of that, we've been able to give our customers products that have been delivering on these 25.5, 50 meg packages, as well as 100 meg packages for products that they've been deploying for the last 3 or 4 years. So this is, it's not new to us. Certainly understand there's some exciting stuff coming, but Cambium Networks has delivered and will continue to deliver in the 5 gigahertz band.
Alex, would you care to respond to Derek there about, roadmap? You might be muted. I think you're on mute.
Hello.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. I respectfully disagree with Derek. Roadmap is roadmap. The way that you look at Telrad, think of it as a puzzle. Each piece can be on its own, or you can start merging them together. So out of the dual band concept, the last piece of the puzzle is going through FCC certification right now. So this is not entirely correct. Everything is there. 100 by 20 service. We have customers that are successfully delivering it today. 25 by 3. Any Telrad customer, point a finger, they can easily deliver 25 by 3. So it's you know, it's not vapor, it's reality today. So we feel comfortable with what we offer. It's a quality product. It's a quality bandwidth, which is probably even more important, and it's very resilient in terms of works with, you know, as a standalone or in a high noise environment.
Just from gathering some of these topics that are flowing in, it seems like a focus is maximizing the spectrum that you have. And so I guess what I would say, I'll pass this one to Rick. How is your product maximizing the spectrum that is available to deliver the most bandwidth? Let's say in a 20 megahertz channel and beyond.
I mean, massive MIMO and carrier aggregation are two ways to take advantage of that spectrum and deliver more bandwidth to the customer.
Can you elaborate a little bit about how Baicells is doing that?
We don't have massive MIMO today. That's coming in 2021. We do have carrier aggregation today, and our customers can take advantage of it with the 436Q product.
Okay, Derek, do you want to comment on how Cambium is maximizing the spectrum available to most operators?
Yeah, it's starting to sound like a broken record here, Joey, but I think that is one of the things that we've been so committed to. And I think, our implementation from the get-go of 8x8 MU-MIMO, plus having our subscriber modules at 2x2, when you look at the Cat4 and Cat6 UEs that are out there today operating at 2x1, that's another place where we really differentiated and started off with a more efficient use of the spectrum. And I've mentioned it a few times, but when you look at 500 megahertz and it's 500 megabits available in a 20 megahertz channel, and we have customers delivering that to over 100 subscribers today on a single sector, that's just simply not capable on an LTE solution. And we know firsthand because we've got our own LTE developments underway. So, and we have an LTE product that we ship today. So we know the difference between what's capable on 450 versus LTE when it comes to the number of subscribers and the amount of capacity you can deliver. And 450 is unmatched.
Okay, Alex. Just to talk about, you're muted.
Unmute.
That's okay.
Yeah, I cannot disagree. Medusa is a powerhouse. And that's again, case to be proven. I mean, proved case what multi-user MIMO does. What I make the emphasis again is it's not about how much bandwidth you serve. A lot of it is about quality of bandwidth. Yes, all those numbers are great and it's important, but you have to be in very favorable place to deliver this kind of capacity. The real world is you have tree on the way. You may have a roof on the way. And that's where the line of sight, near line of sight comes into play. And once you do have obstacles and Fresnel zone is obstructed, that's where that massive amounts of bandwidth become useless because it's just not there. So, or it's not there as much of it. So again, boils down to quality versus quantity. And we stay behind our messaging, stay behind our technology, because in real world, you do have foliage. In real world, you do have topology problems. In real world, you do have interference that may be affecting part of the channel. And in the real world, you do have situations where you don't have 40 megahertz contiguous. You might have 20 here and 20 there. So all that comes to play in real world.
So this question,
Joey, can I
Derek, did you want to respond?
Yeah, just real quick. I think we mentioned that the comment about having foliage or roof line in the way at a subscriber site is really not it's really not as impactful to our ability to deliver massive MU-MIMO, because the combining that we're doing at the AP level, which is typically where you have a pretty good line of sight from the AP down to the customer prem equipment, and you don't have obstructions in that near field next to the AP. So our ability to combine and take advantage of that massive NU MIMO is not affected by obstructions that we have at a roof line or foliage that we have in a front yard.
Alex, do you care to respond to that?
Let's ask service providers what they think. I mean, listen, quantities speak louder than words. I mean, Cambium works, right? You just need to deploy more of the gear to provide certain amount of coverage. Our philosophy goes, deploy less gear, centralize your capacity to fewer towers. It's just two different philosophical approaches. Not Derek is correct. We are correct. We're just sitting on two different towers, two different mountains, doing same job from different ways. It's gonna boil down to business case. How many pieces of hardware you're gonna have in the field? How many truck rolls you're gonna do? What happens if there is a power outage? And you'll have customers that have successful networks with Ubiquiti too. Phenomenal product too, by the way, except they'll have 100 towers. Each one supports 5-10 customers too. So it depends what customers want. From our point of view, fewer base stations serve better quality server bandwidth service to more customers. That's our point of view.
Yeah, Joe, if I can comment, I think the trend's going to be for smaller and smaller cells, both with CBRS and just the need for capacity. You need to get better signals straight to your customers to get that kind of capacity out of your system. If you have poor signal strength to a few of your customers, you're dragging down the whole system. Every environment's different. Every operator has different environments they play in, and that doesn't mean that small cells is the answer everywhere. If you live in western Nebraska and there's no trees and very few customers, you're not going to put small cells every couple miles or every couple blocks. If you're in a suburban area and lots of trees, then maybe you need to do that. There's not one answer for every provider or every environment, and operators just need to learn to adjust and use the proper plan for every environment.
So as LTE kind of came out on the market, it was doing very, very well in near non-line of sight performance. Derek, it seems like Cambium seems to be catching up with their 450 line in terms of that performance. Can you comment a little bit on that and why it's a little bit surprising to some people?
Yeah, so there are really two areas to focus on here. First of all, Cambium had been operating in many, many commercial deployments when the LTE providers were coming online. We had been operating in 3 gigahertz under Part 90 rules. And obviously there was power limitations there that we were adhering to. And many of our competitors in the LTE space were doing these impressive tests and demos using what would become the Part 96 power limits. And certainly when we turned up the power on our product and we matched the EIRP limits, we saw significant improvement as well. And the second area is there were many people who were skeptical of the ability to combine and do massive NU MIMO in a near and non-line of sight environment. And I mentioned it when I was having a rebuttal to Alex, that because we don't see a lot of near field obstructions on our access point, which is where the massive MU MIMO is being combined, we have seen incredible field results in being able to combine that signal and take advantage of that massive MU MIMO, even in near non-line of sight. And Alex made the comment that, let's let the market decide and let the market test. And I think Cambium has been more than willing and happy to see the results that our customers have come back with and said that, hey, I've tried 450, I've tried LTE from multiple manufacturers, and 450 performs better with higher capacity and certainly more subscribers per access point than my LTE solution did.
Alex, do you care to respond to that?
Yeah, when I look at 450, I really break it out between unlicensed, the 5 gig, and the CBRS. So, like I was mentioned earlier, Cambium is, it's a top shelf item, right? Stuff works. We don't need to prove it, right? It's popular. Millions of devices are deployed. The problem is, if let's say we talk about CBRS in particular, and power limits, Derek, were identical. I mean, you're talking about a couple dBs, I think, from 45 to 47. So there shouldn't be an impact. LTE does have inherent advantages based on standard, based on RF, longer cyclic prefix. Your uplink is executed differently, so your power density of uplink is very different than the downlink. So that's why you do see near non-line of sight works. And again, it boils down to philosophical approach. Are you going for densification, more line of sight customers, or not? But CBRS gonna bring a new challenge to everybody. It brings new challenge. Everybody's feeling it, and it's called coexistence. People that were deploying base stations in 2.5 gigahertz know very well what it means coexist with Sprint back in the days. Now it's T-Mobile or Clearwire. CBRS is gonna introduce that challenge to everybody who's running CBRS. And my message to customers or prospects is think twice. CBRS is going to be ran over by carriers. They're going to be everywhere, and they're going to be deploying small cells everywhere, with PAL or without PAL. So just be cautious, so you wouldn't be wasting your money.
All right, Rick, any thoughts there to add?
I agree with Alex. CBRS is going to become very popular. Lots of cells everywhere, which again leads back to my small cell comment. If you think, it's going to be easier to get spectrum grants for small cells when CBRS really takes off, and there's lots of grants being requested by private companies or new ISPs or whoever it may be that's using that, maybe power companies. You're going to be more likely to get the spectrum grants. Maybe you want 220 megahertz channels. You can't get it because you're trying to cover a 10-mile cell or whatever. But if you condense that down so you coexist with the other competitors in the market, you'll be able to get those spectrum grants easier.
All right, well, with that, we've now concluded the question segment of the debate. I want to give each of you a closing statement. Again, that'll be 2 minutes. So Derek from Cambium, please.
Thanks, Joey. I'd like to thank everybody for participating today. I'd like to thank my fellow panelists and certainly thank CTI for putting together such a unique and well thought out event. We've had some great discussions, some good healthy debate around CBRS, standard versus proprietary, near non-line of sight, and the future of the fixed wireless industry as a whole. I talked about this earlier, but this is an exciting time to be part of this industry. Not only do we have an endless amount of opportunities in front of us, but we're an integral part of closing this digital divide that's really plagued our country for far too long. Our CEO, Atul Bhatnagar, reminds us consistently that how fortunate we are to be able to collectively grow our company with our service providers, our distribution partners, and all while bringing goodness to our communities. Bringing connectivity to a student who's now faced with the challenges of remote learning, bringing connectivity to video surveillance cameras that are making some of our biggest cities safer, bringing connectivity to some of our frontline public safety and defense workers and allowing them to do their jobs more effectively and safely. And, when you look at this, and I've talked about it a lot throughout the day, I hope you take away from today Cambium's commitment to our wireless fabric. Unlike a lot of our competitors, we don't believe that there's one technology to do the job. We believe that each one of our technologies and each one of the spectrums that we build product for is a strand of our wireless fabric. And the more we build, the stronger that fabric becomes. And so you'll continue to see innovation from Cambium. You'll continue to see it in the form of new products, new spectrum. We launched 60 gig today. You'll see 28 gig. You'll see further investment, but all with the focus on giving our service providers and customers an unfair competitive advantage in the marketplace. And we certainly want to give all of our customers the options to utilize that precious spectrum that we all recognize as so valuable. Thank you, Joey. I appreciate it. And thank you guys for participating.
All right, Alex from Telrad.
After listening to Derek's statement and like everything that I wrote, I guess I just not read it. No, I'm kidding. But thank you, panelists. Thank you, CTI. Thanks for everybody that was attending this event. It's in new kind, new style. We had to try something different. I always say, and my philosophy always been, never be disrespectful to your competitors. If they're there is a reason for it, and thank them. Because of that, you have a job, and we're on our mission. So it means that our industry is growing. It means that it's good for our industry. So often, and very often, most of our networks or our customers' network is hybrid networks, not just single vendor multi-band. It may also be multi-vendor multi-band as well. So we have to be, we have to understand that it's, where one vendor may fall short, second vendor may pick up and fill the gap. And it's important. We play in tandem. So sure, there is a very interesting stuff we have on the horizon as a roadmap, just like anybody else. We just stay a little bit more quieter. We talk about what's on the short horizon. Efficiencies are important. Raw bandwidth is important. But what's more important is our customers' commitment to their customers. It's about quality of bandwidth. It's about picking and choosing the right technology for the right application. That's about it. Thank you.
All right, Rick, you get the last word.
Well, again, thanks to my fellow panelists here today, and to you, Joey. I think this has been a very valuable exercise for everybody that's participated, and on the panelist side and the attendee side. Anybody that knows me knows that you're going to get the truth from me. I'm not going to blow smoke. When I had asked hard questions today, I told the truth, and Cambium's got a good lead right now, but I think it's temporary. I think LTE standards are going to, and LTE equipment's going to catch up, and at some time, we're going through market consolidation, I think, in the ISP industry, from what I see. And at some point, your company may be approached to purchase, and you got to think hard. Is my investment in Cambium good long term? Is a cell company going to come by and say, "Oh, you got Cambium, I don't want that. I want only LTE equipment, or I'm going to value the LTE equipment more." Who knows? But I think their lead is temporary. I see our products for 2021 that are on the roadmap and coming out in the first quarter, catching up with Cambium very quickly. And from the sounds of it, Alex has the same thing. So, Alex and I are kind of on an equal footing. We make the same equipment under the standards, just from different manufacturers. We got our own quirks and features and whatever. But I think Alex would agree with me. We're going to catch up with Cambium in the next year. Thank you.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have today. Great discussion. So it's time for you to choose who you thought was the winner of the debate tonight. I have a quick poll, which I will launch. And I'll give everyone some time to answer that before I share the results. I'd like to thank the three panelists for an engaging and informative debate. Alex, Derek, Rick, thank you for your time. You're all winners in my book. And to thank the audience for joining us today. We'll be sending out a follow-up email with a link to a recording of the Fireside Chat debate. We also have a short survey that will launch as we end the webinar. So we'd be very grateful if you completed it to help us improve. For all of you on this webinar, don't forget to enter our contest. We have extended the entry date until December 4th. You can win an ATV valued at $5,000 or a dinner for your office. So just go to CTIconnect.com/debate to enter. And okay, here are the results. And it looks like Derek Underwood has won this debate.
Thanks,
So
Joey.
congratulations, well done.
Thank you.
These fireside chats, really help bring real solutions, experience, and ideas to our community. Just keep an eye out for our next one in December. And thanks again for joining us today. Don't hesitate to reach out to CTI Connect with any questions, and have a wonderful day.